Okay, what you're going to learn in this tutorial is how to make a side-scroller AI that's able to adapt to its environment. So I'm going to click the preview button. You're going to learn how to make a forward sensor as well as a down sensor. When the forward sensor detects something in front of it, the AI will jump. When the down sensor doesn't detect something underneath of it, that will make the opponent character jump. If there's spaces in the ground, the opponent AI will know how to jump over those spaces, as you can see here. So some pretty cool stuff. Okay, once you have your programming set up, you'll also learn how to hide your forward sensor as well as your down sensor so that it looks like your opponent AI knows how to adapt by itself to the environment that it's interacting with. Hi, this is Ali Arango of Game Visuals as well as LittleGuyCGI.com. Today I want to show you how to make what I call a form of side-scroller adaptive AI in Gdevelop 5. So let's get started. Okay, what you see in front of you is pretty much the results of a tutorial that I did before called Sidescroller Enemy AI. I'll put a link up where you can get to that tutorial, and basically that tutorial will bring you to this point that you see right here. What we have is an opponent character here. We have a ground. We also have two sprites here. One sprite that is called Go Right, which you can see here, as well as here. There's another sprite that's called Go Left, which is here. And basically what's going on is our opponent AI walks to this sprite, and when the opponent gets to this sprite, the opponent turns back and walks until it gets to this sprite. Basically walks back and forth. What I'm going to show you today is basically how to have the opponent react to the environment around them. So you actually can change the environment and the opponent will kind of automatically react to the environment. And it's actually not that hard to set up. So looking forward to showing you this. Okay, the first thing we need to do as far as setting this up is we need a forward sensor. So what we're going to do is go to this plus button to the right. We're going to left click here. We're then going to go to sprite. We're going to name this sprite FS, which stands for forward sensor. We're then going to click this plus button to the right. We're then going to go to edit with Piskel. Piskel is the built-in graphic editor in Gdevelop. We're going to go to this color here. I'm going to left click here. I'm going to go to green. So I left clicked and dragged slightly in green. I'm going to left click and drag in this green here. And now after choosing the color, I'm going to go into the upper right. I'm going to go to width. And for the width, I'm going to put in 100 for 100 pixels. And then for the height, I'm going to put in 10 for 10 pixels. I'm then going to go down to this resize and then left click the resize. And now you can see this right here. I'm going to go to this paint bucket, left click there, and then left click here. And I'm going to go to this where we see new object. I'm going to name this FS. This doesn't have to be done, by the way. When I say this, I'm talking about renaming this, what the picture is going to be called. I'm choosing to do it. I'm then going to click save. And then with this set up how it is, that's fine. So then I'm going to click apply. Okay, now we need to set up our down sensor. So we're going to click plus. We're going to go to sprite. We're going to name this DS, which stands for down sensor. We're going to go to this plus to the right. We're going to left click there. And then we're going to go to edit with Piskel. We're going to left click here. I'm going to go to our color near the bottom, our color selector, go towards this yellow, left click and drag. Then I'm going to left click and drag where it's a little darker. I want this to be like a brownish color. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to go to the width here. I'm going to change this to 10. And then for the height, I'm going to change this to 100. So we have the width being 10 pixels as well as the height being 100 pixels. We're then going to go to resize, left click. Now we see this right here. I'm going to go to the paint bucket, left click on the paint bucket, left click right here. I'm going to go to this new object again. This doesn't have to be renamed, but I'm going to choose DS. Actually, I want this to look more brown than it is. There we go. I'm going to click on the paint bucket again, click here. So now I'm going to click save, and then this is fine how this is as far as how everything is set up. I'm then going to click apply. Okay, so before I do anything more with our forward sensor as well as our down sensor, let me click the preview button so you can see what's going on with what we have right here. So this is the work that I had mentioned to you before about the previous tutorial that I'll have a link up where you can get to it. So basically the two boxes that you see, which are go left as well as go right, are set up so that they're invisible whenever our opponent character runs into or collides with one of the boxes. The opponent character changes direction and just keeps going back and forth. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go up to near the top where we see new scene events. We're going to left click there. What you see here already, this is the code that's making the character walk back and forth. This is also what I showed you how to do in the previous tutorial that I had mentioned before. So now we're going to add programming that's going to set up our adaptive side-scroller AI. I think that what I'm calling it is an accurate description. It makes it sound like you have to do more than what you have to do, but I do think it's accurate. Anyway, we're going to click here, and when I say click here, we're clicking near the bottom of this event right here. In Gdevelop, you have events, and those events are made up of conditions as well as actions. The condition is to the left, the action is to the right. The condition basically says when something happens, when something happens, and then the action says what to do when that condition is met. Okay, so with this event clicked on, so you can see this blue highlighting this event, you're going to go to this button to the upper right, and this is an add new empty event button. I'm going to left click that, so now we have this new empty event added here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make it so that our forward sensor moves along with our opponent character. So we're going to go to add action. We're then going to go to common actions, action for all objects. We're then going to go down to position, and then we're going to select put an object around another. We're going to left click here. We're then going to choose our FS, which stands for forward sensor, left click there. And then we have this center object. We're going to left click here, and then we're going to select opponent. So this forward sensor, or FS, is going to be put around our opponent character, and that's going to make the FS, our forward sensor, move with our opponent character. The rest of the settings we can leave as they are. We're then going to click OK. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to left click, so we have this blue going around this entire event. We're then going to go up to this add a new event button. We're going to left click there. We're then, with this blue highlighted around this whole event, actually in this case we don't need it highlighted around the whole event. We could have just this selected here, which would be fine. So either or, whether this here we have the blue outline going around the whole thing, or here, it's fine. For now, I'm just going to click right here. I'm going to right click, select copy. I'm going to go to where we see add action. I'm going to right click right on that add action and then select paste. And now we have this action pasted to right here. Okay, the reason why we did that was just for the sake of time, because now we can go just click right on this FS, and now we can just go down to DS and then left click there, and now we have this set up the way this needs to be.